Welcome to part 2 of the Defiant Starter Area Guide, or walkthrough, or whatever you want to call it. This continues from where we left off in part 1. We've just handed in all our quests and we're now ready to continue moving forward. Now the first thing I'm going to do is just to adjust my interface, because I've realised I've run out of convenient to reach buttons. I've got plenty of buttons left, but I like having a load. I have a Naga for a reason. I put all the buttons on the Naga. So just going to remap those quickly. Now, I've probably shown this before, but mapping buttons is as simple as literally highlight the slot and press the button. You don't even need to hit enter or anything else, so just highlight, press button. And then once you've done that, it maps it straight in there. If you do miss map or need to rearrange it, it does prompt you and say, this button's already mapped. So you just click OK and hit accept. And then just sort through your spells. Now, the new spells I've picked up, if you remember from my last one, I went for the Champion Soul, which now gives me... I think it's Overpowering Strike, which uses 3 of my warrior swords to do a straight off damage attack. Fiery Spear, which is that second one there I've just moved. I've now put it up on numpad 2. And Bull Charge or Bull Rush, which you saw from the first video, again is just a charge that runs towards the enemy. Now I was a little bit disappointed with the animation with Fiery Spear. I was expecting like a fireball or, heaven forbid, an actual fiery spear, but instead it's kind of a... well, you'll see in a second when I use it, I kind of just puff my hand out with a ball of fire and there you go, that's it. No actual casting animation, no travelling animation. I don't know why. I probably should post on the forum or bug report that actually. I'm not sure whether that's meant to have, whether it's just literally meant to be like the Mage style Fire Blast where it's just click, bang, it hits target, or whether it's actually meant to be a cast. And as you can see here, I've gotten a bit better of comboing my moves together by using the fire one first. So I stack 3 swords, or 3 combo points. I then hit them with the fire one. I then, if I get the chance, stack another 3, and then hit them with the Overpowering Strike. Now my quest here is to fit a new capacitor into this thing, and I was thrown for a second because normally it's an interactive object. And I thought, well, that's weird, I can't interact with anything. And then I realised it's there on my quest log. So it's always pays to read the quest, although I'm not reading them at the moment, mainly because I don't want to ruin the story, but also because I'm just trying to record these videos. If people want to read the quest, they can hit pause, and I kind of figure it out as I go along. I muddle through it, so to speak. Upon inserting the capacitor, this guy appears and has a bit of a go at you about how he doesn't want you to progress and go any further. He's a lot like the, I can't remember the bloke's name, but there's a similar dude in the Guardian starting area who tries to interfere with you and says, no, you can't do that. And he reminds me a lot like him. Anyway, he shows up, has a go at you, then attacks you, and it's just a simple case of beating him down. He's not epic, he's not nothing special. So just lay into him as you would any other character. As you can see, I'm now doing a fair whack of damage. This is including my Champion Soul, which is two-handed specialisation kind of stuff. Now cleverly, the Fiery Spear does actually generate a combo point as well, so you can spam it while they're running towards you, so you can use it as a ranged pull kind of thing. And as they get closer, you can just keep spamming it at them, which does generate. You can actually have 3 combo points before they even reach you, and then you can just unload them into their face. I must say, I'm quite impressed with this armour I picked up. I didn't really give it much thought in the last one, but when I look back in this today to have another go, I thought it looks quite bulky and armoury, although you don't really see it when you're stood behind the character at the loading screens, and if you stand still and pan around your character. The armour's quite, I wouldn't say highly detailed, although there are little effects on it that I didn't notice when I was running around in game. For example, there you can catch the light on the back of it, it's actually plated together. It's not just a single sheet of armour. As you can see from there, I'm just chucking fire spears at this guy. And he's dead, I don't even have to get in close. So how about that, a ranged warrior class? That's what this game does throw a lot of my misconceptions about any kind of class game. Probably because I played too much Warcraft, where a warrior, the range on a warrior is literally shoot it with a gun, which doesn't really hit that often. That's what it does now actually with the Cataclysm changes, but it didn't used to. It was just, oh, I'll shoot it with a gun, why? Yeah, I was also testing it here, firing at point blank. I much prefer firing at things with a sword at point blank range. I suppose there's no reason why you couldn't make a warrior mage though. Be an interesting choice. Completely ranged warrior spells. I don't know whether you can get a ranged dump spell. Actually, that'd be interesting to look at later. See if you can get a spell that will just let you range dump everything into it. Now, I was just checking the graphic settings here, just in case there was something simple like don't show trails or something. So when I was doing that fiery spear, something was missing. Doesn't look like it though.
Believe in your own power.
So there we go, another level up. That means more talent points to spend and some items to equip as well.
Accept no truth.
Now I believe I just shoved these talent points straight into strength bonuses. Could be wrong. Oh no, I stick them into the other one, the crit bonuses. The next two go into the strength bonuses. Now again, because you're limited where you can dump your points, it does kind of mean that you sort of start looking at both trees. Where are you going to get the most advantage? Now, because of the classes I've gone with, the fact that I've gone for champion and then I've gone for I've gone for Riftblade and then I've gone for champion to improve my two-handed ability, I'm taking a lot of points to just increase my general overall DPS. So all the passive bonuses, so to speak, rather than the active ones. Reason being for that is because if you start taking all the active ones, what you'll find is a lot of the active abilities are, I wouldn't say identical, but they're similar, which I should imagine does help with balance. But for example, the fire harpoon thing that I've got there is very similar to another one that's like a touch of death that you get from one of the other souls. Now the only difference being is the cooldown. The fire one doesn't have a cooldown and hits for slightly less. In fact, no, I think the hit damage might be equal, apart from the fire one does it over time. Or maybe the death one does it over time. I'll double check. Actually, the death one does it over time. Yeah, the fire one does a little dot, the death one does quite a big dot. Now, as you probably saw in the other video as well, this involves when you train, when you level up and that, skills have ranks, old style Warcraft. So you do have to come along and buy the ranks if you need to skill up or anything like that. So if you wonder why a move doesn't hit as hard as it used to, or why a move seems weaker than the other ones you've got, make sure you skilled it up. If you pick up a new soul as well, your new moves are unskilled. So you have to go and skill up, rank up, whatever you want to call it, skill up, rank up, whatever. You have to do that to bring your move in line with your other moves. But luckily, because it's right near the start, you're only a little bit out anyway. I'd imagine that gets expensive when you've got all 8 souls available to you though, and you spec change or whatever. Now, I was also curious, as you saw earlier, there's a big gun in the corner of this area. And I was quite surprised at that. I was like, oh, big gun. What's that for? Blowing stuff up! But you can't use it. At least I don't think you can use it unless I missed a quest somewhere. Now, one thing that is enabled to start with that may throw some people is that when you're moving, the map will fade out. You can toggle it on and off by using the M key, but you can't drag it, you can't click on it, can't set waypoints while you're running. You can turn that feature off, but I have it on just because sometimes I leave the map up and then I like reading it. It fades out while you're running so I can see where I'm going and not actually click on it and drag it around. So, yet more kill quests. There are a lot of kill quests around this area actually. I must admit there's no variety, but again, maybe I've been spoiled by Warcraft's sudden overhaul to add a whole new load of quests. Or at least, it's probably not so much a new load of quests, but interesting ways to do kill quests. Whereas I can handle kill quests for now. The combat still takes a bit getting used to. The fact that I can't kill everything in 3 shots is, I'd say, interesting actually, because you rethink your strategies into going into a fight. You don't just front load all your massive damage abilities because you know you're still going to have half the enemy's health to get rid of. So you try and pace yourself and slap them down a bit easier. You're in it for the long run, so to speak. Don't think I've mentioned this yet actually, but when I'm in combat you probably notice a little health and energy bar appears above me and the enemy. It happens for everything. I think you can turn it off if you want to, but it's quite nice. It's like having a HUD effect, like arc HUD or something like that. There you go, see just above my head it appears. So it's a health bar, an energy bar, and then you can actually see the swords on it as well. So you don't even need to keep looking at the top of the screen. Which is, it's quite a nice idea actually that. It works, it's not too intrusive, and it lets me see what my energy and health is at the time. And what my combo points are. Now this quest is quite cool. You've got to kill this woman, but she kind of functions a little bit like a, I suppose like a boss really. She's got tactics and that to her. Once you get down to a certain level of health, she puts a shield up and summons these undead to attack you. So you've got to kill them off before her shield goes down. Now for those of you that didn't read the quest, or just can't be bothered to read the quest, fair enough, what it is you kill her, take her soul, and then repurpose her soul so you can use it, kind of thing. I say kind of thing, but really that's just creepy. He's like, I'm going to drain your soul! Yes, soul! And then take it in, stick it in the machine, and pop, out comes the soul. It's like a vending machine for souls. But you'll get to see that part in a minute anyway. So drain the soul. Yes, souls. And run that back over to the base camp. And yes, I sped the video up there. I don't suddenly run at 300% speed. So you hand into this guy. And one of the things I've not really noticed has been going along, but you can, as you can see there, there's little flavour text underneath these names. Like, why do you wear a mask? You can ask people about themselves and find out interesting sort of tidbits. I suppose it's more lore related, but I've never really noticed it until that guy. I clicked on it earlier and I was like, why do you wear a mask? He's like, oh, I did something awful and I can't go back to being the man I was, kind of thing. I'm sure it was some heartrending story, I just didn't read all of it. Caught myself doing that lore thing again. It's like, no, stop it! So anyway, here's our next choice of souls. So I've got most of them, well I've got 3 so far, or 2 so far, sorry, so this is my 3rd one. And to do this, what I must do is cleanse the soul I pulled off that woman a minute ago. So I pop it into this little machine here. And it creates some kind of weird floaty head that shouts at you and tells you off. I have no idea what the floaty head is on about. Anyway, out pops a sundered soul, which you must now defeat in order to gain its powers. It's a little bit tougher than the stuff that you've been encountering so far, actually. It's quite a bit tougher. It actually took me a little bit of thinking. And then I set it on fire, and that was the end of that problem. Yay, fire! It solves everything. So hand it back into this guy. Now, I wasn't sure which souls to take for this part now, because there are recommended ones, but the recommended one for a champion and a rift blade is to dual wield. And I thought, well, champion's two-handed specialisation. Why would I then go and look at two hands? It doesn't make any sense. So instead I went for, I can never remember the name of it now, but it's a little, it's like death, I suppose. You kind of inflict death on people. I think that's it, Void Knight. A lot of your spells become death-based. Or you get some spells that are death-based. I must admit, this, when it comes to looking at souls and what you could get, it does tell you about like offensive, defensive, support kind of spells. And there's so much to them that I do recommend sort of pausing the video and reading through them, or looking on the Rift game website and just seeing about each soul class, because there's millions of choices and combinations. So anyway, new one, and we've got a new ability as well. We've got 2 new abilities, or 3 new abilities actually. One is a basic strike ability, which I'm not going to bother with because I have one, and my one sets stuff on fire. So there's your basic strike. And then I've also got this death blow one up there, or dire blow I think it's called. That kind of replaces the champion blow that I had on my bar that I've just gotten rid of now. I'd thought about putting it down there, but when I look at the damage it does, it's not a lot, because again I haven't skilled it up. But also it doesn't do anything different from dire blow, or what's that called actually? I can't read it. Teach me to edit in a little window, wouldn't it? But yeah, that one there, the frenzied blow or whatever it is. I'm just going to call it champion strike because it's easier and I remember what it is. But yeah, the way it works is that the death blow one you get is pretty much just champion strike, but for that tree. So you can mix and match. So what I've done there is put the death ability on my action bar next to the flame spear, kept my pummeling blow, and I've also kept my fire blow that I can hit them with to do damage over time as well. The two of those stack up quite well because the fire one does damage over time and the other one's a direct hit. And the death blow one is kind of, it's just literally, it's a ranged touch of death kind of thing. It just does damage over time. It's a standard dot. There's nothing special about it. It's got a bit of a cooldown on it. But it spices up. It's a bit of variation. I mean, I could just ignore it completely and just aim for things deeper in that tree. Or see what I get as we go along. So it's always interesting to sit and see what you get. I have no doubt that you can just pick 2 trees and work down 2 and not even touch the third one unless you really wanted to. Now I'm just going to speed this bit up because it's pretty much a kill and collect quest now. Same as in the other area where I went through the forest and had to kill and collect. This has kind of got the same kind of quest. You kill the skeletons and collect their bones, and then kill the sorceress and collect their stones. Hey, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. So anyway, I'll speed this up. There is a bit in a minute actually I want to show you though, which is regarding your health and when you're low on health. What's quite cool is when you are attacking a target and you're being attacked back, if you get really low on health, your screen starts to grey out and you get a heartbeat style effect. Which I've never really noticed, but again on the cloth character, when you die, you literally get punched in the face and you die. There's no low health bits usually. You get hit quite hard, so to speak. I rarely have been left on low enough health to actually stop and drink, so it's interesting when I saw it here on a warrior, because you can kind of, as a warrior, you get brought down to that level, but you can still take a bit of a beating. Not much, mind you. I probably would have died quite quickly if I hadn't killed the target. So yeah, here we go. So these 2 guys here. So I'm just going to kill his mate first of all. Right, there you go. That's me going grey. And it's going to hit me again. It goes a bit more grey. But the moment I kill him, it goes back up again. As you saw, I was literally on probably about 10% health when it went grey like that. Anyway, we're now going to head back over to the warrior trainer and skill up, because this is where I noticed that I actually hadn't skilled up those new moves I'd picked up. So as you see, skilling those up now brings them up into line with the rest of my spells. They all do around the same amount of damage. So if we speak to the Faceless Man again, yep, we've killed your stuff, here you go. He's now dinged us up another level, which means more talent points. There's a couple of places I can choose to put them. Some of these did look quite interesting actually, but I thought I'm going to stick them in strength just to get me the strength bonus from the other tree. Frozen armour, that was an interesting one actually, as it lets me freeze the enemy's armour, snaring them by 50% for X seconds. I think it was 30 seconds or something, which I thought was quite cool. Great for kiting, but you're a warrior, you don't need the kite stuff, you just need to punch in the face. So, decisions. Do I freeze it and run away? Do I punch it in the face and set it on fire? Let's not forget, it's punch in the face and set on fire, so I think that choice wins out overall. I may pick that up next time I level up actually though, see what it's like. Now this new ability I've got is, it's like an amplifier move. You attack the target with it and it places a debuff on them. And what that debuff does is the next direct strike damage ability, so not the damage over time one, so it doesn't affect the fire one, but it does affect the champion strike move that I do, that when I hit them with it, bam, massive damage increase. So it's quite nice to cycle that into a combo. So if I do one combo where I set them on fire, then another combo where I use that move followed by the champion strike, quite a bit of damage can be done in a very short amount of time. And the other thing to do is sell all the crap I'm carrying, which is friggin' loads at this point. Just get rid of it, sell it all to the shop, he doesn't mind. Anyway, sold all the crap there, and that was a little buff scroll you saw me use as well. In the standard sort of, you use it to apply it to yourself, get temporary buff. I've got a strength one here. Now, the way I do this quest, I don't think is the correct way I was meant to do it. I have a feeling I wasn't really reading the quest text. As I said, I kind of skipped the quest text quite a bit. Absolutely fine fighting my way up here. Got a little bit low on health because this guy up here was shooting me and I didn't realise. So I killed him, had a drink. Restored my health to full. And this is where I suddenly realised I think I'd made a mistake, because I got round here, pulled this guy, I thought, yeah, easy enough, I'll just pull one at a time, work my way through that crowd, pulled all his friends, and as you saw, a whole load of them came out of nowhere then, and it's just, I died. So I cheated, I used Soul Walk, and just ran right the way through them to the point where I knew I had to get to. Probably not the idea of Soul Walk to get past areas you get stuck in, but if I'd read the quest, I would have realised there's actually a giant mechanical golem you get to help. Which I felt really stupid after I realised that. I was like, oh, well, I could have had a giant golem. Anyway, you get up to Rubicon and you talk to the guy up here, and he tells you pretty much that there's a rift just up ahead with a time machine there. In fact, the rift's not there yet, it's just meant to be a time machine. But I think at this point, either someone had bugged the event or I bugged it because I hadn't done it correctly, as you'll see in a second.
We are people of action.
Right, now that thing is a death rift. You saw one in the first video as well, the Guardians area. And that's pretty much it. From what I understand of seeing someone else do this quest, that's not meant to be here. It's not meant to appear until you start doing it, but as you'll see in a second, I think I bugged the quest and caused no end of trouble for myself. So anyway, run up here, and the only two things I've got to do is talk to one dude and then run back across here. But when I arrive at the rift, it's already at level 3, which is odd because normally when someone starts a rift event, they'd still be here doing it. But they're not. It's just the rift event is sat on level 3 and no one's here doing anything. Nothing's happening. So I speak to this guy, and once I spoke to him, I try and kill the woman. As you'll see in a second, I die. Yeah, one thing I didn't notice that you should probably look at is around the picture is a load of spikes, which as you saw then I got the pop-up telling me this is an elite enemy. It's like, oh, well, this is my face when it gets beaten in with a stick. So I did try my hardest, and then I thought, oh, I wonder if I can just run for the portal. No, you can't. If it's orange, you can't get in it. You've then got to respawn properly, since I've already used my Soul Walk as well earlier today. Soul Walk can only be used every hour, which is the problem with it. It's not really a problem, it's just it's like a one-off thing. If you accidentally die while questing, then you can use that rather than have to run back to your corpse. It's quite a nice idea. So anyway, I stopped to take a look at the quest, trying to figure out what I'd missed, and the quest just says, oh yeah, talk to X, then talk to Y. However, my death appears to reset the event. When we get back up here, as you'll see in a second, the rift is not in effect. In fact, even the portal is not in effect. And then we realised that someone else has spoken to this guy and set the event off again. So whether it was me doing the event wrong or someone had died or disconnected and it hadn't finished the event, this guy's reset it for me now. And I've joined the public quest with him, so we both get the... I suppose it doesn't matter whether we do or don't join the public quest, it's just easier to coordinate. And there is the death rift opening up. I must admit, the rift opening animations are friggin' awesome in this game. I mean, I've only seen fire and death so far, but the fire one's brilliant. It's just a pillar of fire followed by a rock with a skull face on it. Like, that is awesome. Anyway, rift event, standard rift event fare is that this woman is summoning undead skeletons, beat the skeletons to engage phase 2. So you see me and Lane here start from the first one, and we both progress to the second one together, and then we split up after that and start working our way around them. Now I must admit, one thing I do miss is any kind of aggro generation. There are no moves that definitely generate aggro to start with, so whether you get more if you go into a defensive tree or something, I don't know. I might have to pick a defensive tree and have a look at it. Might make tanking a bit more, bit easier to understand, so to speak. So we've got a couple of these guys left, 3 left. Lane doesn't seem to have any trouble killing them, but he's a rogue by the looks of it, or, well, he's a rogue, I can tell you that much. Or one of the leatherwear ones. What are they? I think they were classed as rogues. What was it? Warrior, cleric, rogue, and mage. Yeah, so he must be a rogue. But he kind of chops through things without any problem, whereas I really struggle to kill things. Well, I don't struggle, it just takes me a bit longer. Anyway, ugly woman here, summoned ugly here, which I must admit I was rather impressed at the character model here. He's got like scars and zips all over his body. As you can see there, my crazy rogue friend has pulled aggro. I'm sure he's a rogue actually, because he's wearing a shield. Oh no, he's not wearing a shield, it's some kind of projection on his back. Never seen that before. Anyway, this time round, these guys turn up to help the High Council, or the High General, whatever they are, which suddenly makes taking down an elite a hell of a lot easier. So, kill boss, and then wonder what the hell's going on with the portal, because it's still not firing up. As you can see, he tried to jump in there, and I tried to jump in, and we both got knocked back. And it's our old friend Regulus. And what the High General doing there is temporarily stunning him so they can get the portal opened. As you can see, it's causing Regulus in the background a great deal of pain. So I'm going to jump through here and trigger off the cutscene.
Go, Defiant! Fight your way back to the past and deliver the warnings of this failed future. The cults will release the dragons. The ward will fall. And Regulus will descend on Talara, bringing us face to face with our annihilation. If you do not stop this chain of events, everything we have worked for, everything we have died for, will have been in vain. You are our one chance to alter history, Defiant. You must forge a new future for Talara.
So, there you have it. Get portal, escape in portal, run away, end up back in time, fix time stream. So, yeah. I was rather surprised at this whole time travel thing, because it's, if you play the Guardians, you kind of defeat Regulus there and then. And sort of, I don't know whether you seal him away temporarily or whatever, or whether it's the king sacrificing himself. So I'm not sure how the two time streams converge, whether the Defiant are actually in an alternate time stream and then transported back into the Guardian's current time stream, or whether it's elaborated in more detail further down the line. But that's something we'll have to wait and see. Now I've got a PvP video coming up from the Black Garden, which is the Guardians, well in fact the Guardians and the Defiant can both access it, but it's from a Guardian's perspective on my Necromancer, so I'll get that up as soon as I can. And I'll probably work on doing a couple more of just rift hunting and things like that, so people can see what the general gameplay is like. Anyway, for now, this has been Riftwatch, and I've been Metro2K. Have a good evening.